All right, folks, welcome back here. We're here on the No Stall Zone, folks, the only live wrestling call-in show. Anyone and everyone's welcome to call in. You just get 2 stall warnings. You get 1 stall warning, and then on the second, we toss you out, Kevin. So, but hey, we're here to talk about what everyone's talking about, Kevin. It's the new league, Hulk Hogan, okay? Apparently starting a new professional wrestling league, Freestyle League here. So we're here. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about, is this going to work? Is this going to work, Kevin? I don't know. We'll see. We're going to break it down, but all the details. And then along with that, a lot of other stuff, Kevin. But, Kevin, how you doing before I throw it to you, man? Folks, link is in the description. Feel free to call in. But, Kevin, how you doing? How you been, man?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Got a good show, ready to roll. Some new topics that not everyone's talking about, which is great.
Some very relevant topics, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Not your run-of-the-mill stuff, but things that are very important. So I'm looking forward to the show.
Yeah, well, Kevin, appreciate you joining, man. And, hey, let's get right into it here, right? Because it's what everyone's talking about, this new professional wrestling league. Hulk Hogan on Fox News this morning, and we're here to talk about it. Is it going to work? So, basically, folks, I put up here on the screen, we've done our research. The main topics here, what to know. So it's Eric Bischoff, Hulk Hogan, and Izzy Martinez. Izzy Style Wrestling there are the three men basically running this league. And obviously everyone knows Hulk Hogan back from the the NWO, WCW days. But I'm going to go through the main topics here and briefly read, Kevin, from the official statement. Not everything, but just to touch on some of these topics as I kind of go through them. But Real American Freestyle, new unscripted freestyle wrestling league launched today, aiming to professionalize the sport and provide a platform for the world's best wrestlers to compete in front of millions of fans. Spearheaded by the elite storytelling of Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, and the legendary coach Israel Martinez. One of the top coaches in the history of sport, the league brings together iconic leadership with deep credibility. Real American Freestyle is led by trusted hyper-growth consumer investor Left Lane Capital and is positioned to disrupt innovation, entertainment, and the world's most popular style of wrestling. So, Kevin, here we got 8 men's and 4 women's weight classes, and it's 9-minute matches. Okay, we'll talk about each one of these topics here, but let me go through them first. First event in August 30th in Cleveland. They have placeholders for September and October events. They are sponsored up-and-coming light beer company, along with, as aforementioned, Left Lane Capital investment group, which we need to dig into them, do some research on them. I have some notes on them, but they are partnered with USA Wrestling. There's some details on that. Ben Askren, Kennedy Blades, Zahid Valencia are already involved. They have more that they said they're going to announce. Questions I have initially: how much money? What are the rules? Where can I watch it? And can it coexist with another league, mainly Claw? But we'll break it down here, Kevin. What's your initial gut reaction, your initial thoughts of this league?
So initially I was like, nah, but then I got thinking, you know what? The more the better. I mean, there might be 3 or 4 new wrestling leagues, and maybe only one makes it, but at least one would make it. You know, it's kind of like the law of large numbers. I really like what Claw's doing as far as being right there at the U.S. Open, having their name right in it. That they're doing everything they can to make this work. I got to tell you, I wasn't enthused initially about this until I saw Ben Askren's name in it. I think Ben Askren is a winner. I think he's smart, and I don't think he would waste his time with something if he didn't think it'd be successful. So I do have a lot of faith in him. And I like Hulk Hogan, man. He's an icon, and if he can bring some other people into our sport, possibly, that's a good thing. I imagine it's going to be regular freestyle because I mean the name is real wrestling. So you'd think it would be real freestyle. I like that it's different than Claw because that gives another avenue. But anything that's going to put light on the sport, get these guys money, and put eyes on the sport, I'm all about. Whether it will work or not, we'll see. But like I said, Ben Askren's got a pretty good head on his shoulders, so
yeah,
I think it'll bring good things to it.
Well, we have talked about the intelligence of Ben Askren, but he's going to be participating along with Zahid Valencia, Kennedy Blade. So I don't know if he's involved that much with the brains behind it, but him already announcing would lead you to believe it. But
Yeah.
I guess the official roles here of each. So what is it? The Hulk Hogan is the commissioner, and hold on here. COO, the marketing guy is Bishkoff, and Izzy's something else. But obviously, you got Hulk there as your commission and your front man. Yeah, I mean, is he still relevant enough? I don't know. Hulk, call in if you feel like it. Izzy, call in. Well, obviously they got a lot of money. We don't know how much money they got. They announced the 8 men's and 4 women's. Let's start there. We don't know the weight classes. Interesting here, though, 9-minute matches. Now, that's longer than normal, Kevin. Your thoughts on that?
I don't love it. Like, honestly, I would like it to be even shorter, because what you want is action, right? Like, I like what Claw did, and not to keep comparing to Claw, but that's what we have to compare it to, Claw made it shorter because you want to see guys going after. The last thing we want is guys, waiting for the clock to run down or whatnot. But I think that this is going to be a lot of this. I think will be changing and adapting. And Isaiah Martinez is a famous coach. He's obviously has a lot of experience with wrestling and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Hulk Hogan, I don't really believe has a clue about wrestling, but the guy's a marketer, man, and he's got the intensity, enthusiasm. So I am curious to see who they get for this, and what they're getting paid. And I do understand that Ben Askren isn't a part of it, like the operation, but something tells me that he's going to definitely have some input on it, I would think, being one of the first people. And plus Ben gives his input whether people want it or not. But
well, no, and to go back, I mean, there wasn't really a lot of details released. Obviously, they haven't released everything.
Yeah.
And, that leads to the questions. And the 9-minute match is interesting because I go back to the rules. You said you expect it to be the same. I don't. I mean, they kind of briefed in the interview on Fox today towards there's going to be elements that are added and increase the motivation to do big moves. So I think it's going to be different. We don't know how, but I find it interesting that they're going to add that element, but then make it longer, because you would think that you would want to shorten it. Yeah.
Especially not in season. I do like the fact that it's going to be interesting how many college guys do it and how many college guys are allowed to do it, because you got to figure, until this gets notoriety, this isn't something that's for your country or for your school. So how many teams are going to want their guys to go out there and compete and possibly get injured? I'm curious to see that. And Zach, what was the name of that league that they had a long time ago? Man, it was probably like in the early 2000s. I don't know if you remember. It was Freestyle.
Yep.
They didn't wear singlets. They just didn't wear a shirt. I was watching that the other night for some reason, and it was
there was some pretty or something. Good. I forget. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering what went wrong with that. I kind of took a little break from wrestling around that time, so I wasn't too into it. But I hope they just, if anything, learned from that and change things up where they feel they need to be changed.
Well, it's interesting, and I got more questions. But listen, we got a call in here. Christian B. He's called in before. I want to give him a chance to get his chance on here. But as far as, sorry, Kevin, keep talking as I load Christian up here.
No, you know what? And I'm not going to be Debbie Downer on any of these. I will support anything that's wrestling. And I know people's first reaction sometimes would be like, it's never going to work, this or that. Why be like that? If you like wrestling and there's an avenue for these guys to make money, and there's an avenue to have somebody outside our sport that's very popular, maybe bring eyes on the sport, root for it, man. Be supportive of it and see what happens.
I think that's one thing we can all agree on. We're all just rooting for everything to work, quite frankly. But hey, Christian, thanks for calling in, man. How you doing? You know the rules. You get 2 stall calls. How you doing, man?
Nah, I like that. Okay. Well, first off, hopefully this gets the ref off my back.
Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. Wow,
all right.
Look the other way for the first one.
Yeah, But in terms of the wrestling leagues, okay, first off, the styles of wrestling, I love folk style wrestling. Um, just because I feel like there's so much strategy involved. There is for freestyle, but as someone, grew up doing folk style, or yeah, folk style, I'm a lot more familiar with it, I would say. But after watching the US Open this weekend and watching exclusively freestyle, man, I was excited for it again. I think that the 30-second shot clock is so innovative when it comes to forcing guys to at least be on the attack. Guy with the
Yeah.
stalling, you have the first warning, but it doesn't really start getting guys going until the point's given up. Well, the 30 seconds is huge for getting guys to go because at the end of that 30 seconds, you're giving up a point. So I really like that aspect to see that go again. And I don't know if you guys can experience this, but in the eyes of wrestling fans, in the eyes of just regular Joes who watch the NFL, watch some basketball, March Madness, they don't really know what's going on. And I'll sit my family in front of a wrestling match, either my wife or my in-laws, and I'll be like, no, just wait. It's gonna be awesome. Just wait. And I feel like with folk style, it's more that way. I'm like, no, you just wait. And then they turn their head. I'm like, he just scored on him. And then they're like, oh, I missed it. But freestyle, when Jax Forrest and Seth Gross are going at it, I'm telling my wife,
Fire.
look, this match is going to be so awesome. I know you haven't believed, I've been wrong in the past, but there's no way in freestyle that Jax Forrest and Seth Gross match up and it's 1-1 going with a minute left.
Yeah.
No, freaking Jax Forrest text the dude. Insane. So in terms of style and excitement, I do think freestyle has the upper hand, but there's always that soft spot for folk style. I have anyways. I don't know if you guys feel the same.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts?
I know my dad feels the same, but I know my brother says just the on the mat wrestling is the part of the folk style he doesn't like. Starting on bottom, starting on top. Like it's that part alone. But it raises the question: what are the rules? When are we going to find out what these rules are exactly? Because I'm sure and Christian, to your point, it's almost like wrestling needs to be commercialized, right? Like made for television, and maybe Hulk Hogan is the guy to do that. I mean, I think, like I said, we're all rooting for something.
Guys,
Go ahead.
People are always talking about growing the sport, right? But let's be real, okay? You're not just going to take a guy off the street that's not a wrestling fan and turn him into a wrestling fan. The truth is we have tons of people, millions and millions of people in this country that are familiar with wrestling, whether they wrestled or they had a family member wrestle, but they're not wrestling fans, okay? So I think what has to be worked on is getting those people to become wrestling fans. And the only way you're going to do that is by putting more stuff available for them to watch, not having them need to subscribe to something or, whatnot, but just having it in front of their face, telling stories like you're doing, Zach, on the Wrestling Files, which is brilliant, and doing things like that, okay? And then getting more participation in the youth. That's how you build a sport, in my opinion. I think that if you're just going to go out and try and get somebody that's never seen wrestling, that's 35 years old, and just turn them into a wrestling fan, that's just not going to happen, But we have the people that are familiar with it. We just have to get everybody, involved watching it and becoming actual fans, not just familiar with wrestling, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, I think their target audience is to pull over the WCW and like those type of wrestling fans into this audience. Yeah. I think that's probably why.
And that's great, and that's doable. You know what? They did get the blessing from USA Wrestling to do this, so it can't be that.
They're eligible. I wanted to mention that when you touched on it. They partnered with USA Wrestling, so any NCAA wrestler who is eligible will not affect their eligibility at all, which is interesting.
Yeah. And they have to. They're not going to just give some chump idea their blessing. If anything, they'll be kind of pompous about it. So I'm really curious to hear more. It's funny too because they were. Remember I don't know if you guys saw the FRL with Keegan O'Toole, but he mentioned something like about this. He kind of slipped up, and Christian's like, I don't think you're supposed to say anything about that about Ben Askren. I was wondering what it was going to be, and this is it.
Flow card. I thought that was going to be another flow card. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect a whole nother league. I'm going to be honest,
yeah.
But like said earlier, if Ben Askren's involved, it can't be that crappy, Like he
Yeah,
He's a
doesn't just
smart guy. Yeah.
yeah, he
yeah,
doesn't just waste time like you said earlier, Kevin. So
and he doesn't have a lot of competing time left. I'm surprised he's still competing. To be honest with you, I thought he was kind of done,
Yeah,
but he
how old
must
is
have the
he?
itch.
How old is he? How competitive can Ben Askren be in reality? But it really will, at the end of the day, come down to a business model. I mean, Hulk Hogan hyping
Yeah,
it up and having one event's great, but it's going to end up coming down to, and apparently they got a lot of money up front, so it's going to work
that's
the
what I was
first
going to ask.
time,
Hulk
but it's going to
How
Hogan,
come
much
down to a
money are
business
they
model.
willing to lose on this? Are
Yep.
they because I mean, I'm sure Claw will tell them to make money, and it might be brutal and look hopeless, but if you truly believe in it, you got to just keep going down with the ship, even if you think. But is this going to be something that's just kind of a 1 year kind of, nah, it's not working, or is he going to really put the time in to give it its all and get the right people into where they need to be? That's the key, is getting the right minds to do this.
Yeah, no, I agree. Christian, I want to give you a chance for final thoughts here. You got no stall warnings, but we do have to roll on here and open the lines up for anyone else. I do expect Hulk Hogan to call in here shortly, folks.
yeah. I think what Kevin was saying earlier about the marketing, and you too, Zach. The marketing is the biggest factor of getting people to care. When Wyatt Hendrickson beat Gable Steveson, everyone knew about it, whether they knew wrestling or not, simply because it was put before people's eyes. And with the NFL isn't all that exciting except for a couple plays a quarter, right? The NBA, well, that game sucks nowadays. But college basketball, it's
Awful.
exciting. Every drive, they're shooting the ball, they're driving, all of that. Basketball is exciting that way because it's boom, 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 boom. Football, it's kind of a slow game. And with all the commercials, the timeouts, it's not like, with our attention spans nowadays, especially my generation, it's not that exciting of a thing. Wrestling, when it's awesome, it's awesome. But the stalling, the avoiding, yeah, that can be boring. And I could see how a diehard wouldn't like it that much. But there's people, casuals watching the NFL every single Sunday during the season, and it's not all that exciting except for a couple plays a quarter. So I say all that to say this: if we can simply promote these leagues and get them in front of people's eyes one way or another, that's the key if we want it to explode. Now, whether people are going to take it or not, that's going to be up to them. But if we can do our part and just get it in front of the eyes of people, that's how you make new fans. And that's the same for freestyle and folk style. So
Yeah.
I don't know what you're.
Well, Christian, I got to say that was very, very well said. And you know what? That's what we're trying to do here
Absolutely.
at the end of the day. Whether it's Claw, whether it's this, we're trying to promote it, man. Give any and all leagues a chance to succeed. We want any and all of them to succeed. But
That's actually what got that match, is what got Hulk Hogan thinking about this, was the Wyatt Gable match. He saw that, and he saw the president there and everything, and he just was like, it hit me like, wow, there's opportunity here. But like anything, man, you gotta have interest in these athletes. Because I don't know about you guys, but when there's like matchups like the U.S. Open this past weekend and the finals, some of the matchups, that's where I get giddy, man. I'm just like, all right, I can't wait to see this and this and this, But it's because I know about these guys. I know their history. I know, where they're at. If I didn't know any of their names, I don't know. I would not have anywhere near the enthusiasm for
that
it.
is one thing the Hulk touched on that I totally agreed with on Fox today. He said they're going to build up the backstories of these wrestlers, so you know them.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what you just said, Kevin. So that was one thing I definitely totally agreed with. But Christian, great point, well said, and appreciate you calling in, man. And please call in again soon. And we want to open up the phone lines here, but he actually led me to my next question, which is where are we going to be able to watch this? Just one of the many questions lingering out there about this league.
By the way,
go ahead.
Ben Askren's old. Did you know that?
What's that? 40.
Ben Askren is 40 years old.
Actually, yeah, look that up prior to this. So I did.
Wow.
I think the last time he wrestled was what, 6 years ago, and the Flow beat the Streets or something.
He's going to be 41 in a couple months.
Burroughs.
That's crazy.
Was it Burroughs he wrestled last?
Burroughs,
beat
I
the
think,
Streets?
was like 36 or 37, maybe. I don't know.
And it was 6 years ago.
Man.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to watch Ben Askren. I want to know who he's wrestling. I mean, I hope it's not Zahid.
Dylan Palacio, please.
Yeah, there we go. Actually, that would be fun, man. That would be fun.
Burroughs is going to turn 37 in a couple months.
Wow.
I can't imagine a 9-minute match would go, especially for.
Is there going to be a break in between? I mean, I remember when I wrestled freestyle back in the day, it was one like 5-minute period. But yeah, we'll see. Like I said, man, those details are minor. They'll get switched 100 times over, hopefully. But yeah, 9-minute match, man, like that that to me shows like less intensity. You know, it's like we were just talking about folk style and freestyle. Folk style, I'm the same way. The mat wrestling kills it for me, but it's not in the way that you would think. It's the way that they have to start calling stalling on top. They have to. I don't want to see people just ride to ride, just to get that minute riding time. It makes me go crazy. So if they just called it the right way, because you're supposed to pin or ride to turn, look to turn, that would improve it a million %. So hopefully they do that, because nobody enjoys seeing somebody just ride an ankle and spiral ride for 2 minutes. That's not good. So,
well, I want to get to the next point here, which is the sponsors, because if you really want to know what's going to happen, you got to follow the money, right? Real American Beer, and specifically Left Lane Capital. So if you look into Left Lane, Harley Miller, the CEO of Left Lane. And so if you want to get a vision or an idea of where they, I would imagine, foresee this league looking like or being like. So apparently this guy has also backed Gerard Pick's Kings League, I'm not familiar with, Shaun White's Snow League, and the League One Volleyball. So this is not the first time that this Left Lane Capital has invested in a new startup sport type adventure. So interesting. I don't know. I have to do my research on those three. Gerard's Picks, Kings League, Shaun White's. I mean, Shaun White, everyone knows Shaun White, the snow guy, but I don't know. Interesting. And then the League One Volleyball. So we'll see. And that's at the end of the day, that's where the money's coming from. So that's going to be the boss. Hulk Hogan might be the commish, but
and the like storylines that there'd be a lot of trash talking and some press conferences.
Yeah,
that
well,
help.
No, that's true, and it kind of leads me to, I guess, my final question. Could obviously we promoted Claw a lot on here on BEG. Is this going to be the competition with Claw? Is one going to work? But my conclusion from all this research. Okay, here are the facts. This event is a one-day event. Claw, the actual wrestling, is a one-day event. It's a league. They have teams. It's different. And they're different days. And even with this league, they're proposing 2 other days. Okay, that's like 4 days out of 365 days in a year. Why both these leagues can't coexist wouldn't make any sense to me outside of the typical alpha wrestlers, too many A's in the room. Everyone wants to be the man, and no one, everyone wants to take the other down.
Yeah, they better not have like contracts where one league you can't do the other league or anything like that, because that would be crap too.
Yeah, I don't see why you would do that, but yeah, I mean, it's literally, we're talking about at this point 1 day of the year for each league, so I don't see why wrestlers wouldn't want to be in both.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, and this is one of the sports where you can do that. You generally train on your own, however that might be, and so it's not as if you're a team practicing. So you just show up and do your thing.
And the other thing, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to get my wrestlers hurt or anything, because we're talking about a professional paid league, folks. So this isn't college where you need management. Health management, because this is NFL players play every single week. Don't tell me wrestlers are getting more beat up than NFL players. It's professionals. So there's different
Yeah.
expectations. You need to show up and perform and wrestle, but I don't know.
This is a good thing too, because if you think about it, I mean, it used to be real bad, but then it was like, okay, you want to make a living wrestling? That's great. You got to be the best person in the country at your weight class. There's 10 weight classes. Oh, and only 6 every 4th year. So that alone had people be, okay, let's be real. I'm not the best in the world, my nation, and we're one of the top nations. So basically you're like one of the best in the world. You'd have to be. So this all of a sudden gets guys that are like, okay, I'm not near that upper echelon of athlete, but I can still actually go make money. The more we have on that, the more layers, the more guys can actually make money in the sport after college, which absolutely helps.
Yeah, I agree, man. Just the more money in the sport, and I think that maybe the Wyatt win over Gable was the best thing Gable could ever did for the sport.
He said in here that he's trying to get Wyatt and Gable, right? And who knows? Maybe Gable's like, ooh, WWE. Maybe
if Gable does
the
this,
worst actor I've ever seen. He's gonna have to take acting classes, but I don't know, man. Let's see what happens. I'm always interested. I'm always curious. So.
Meet me at the creek. In my opinion, football is boring. In another 5 years, college won't even be worth watching. And once these athletes get paid, they don't play with the hunger anymore. NFL's dead. MLB's dead. Can't even go. And he said you can't go to a game without dropping $1,000. Well, that's why Savannah Bananas are so big now. Anyone ever look up the Savannah Bananas business model?
Football.
Savannah Bananas business model, $25 ticket. Now they might have raised it now. All you can eat. No, they don't charge anything else, dude. No advertising in the stadium. Go look up YouTube, the Savannah Bananas story. Fascinating. They went against the grain on everything, and now they're selling out football stadiums and they're starting their own league. It's crazy. So don't tell me it can't work. I've always said it's only a matter of time. A professional wrestling league will happen. It's inevitable. It's just when, who, how. So maybe it's one of these. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's called. Maybe it's both. Maybe it's not.
Yeah, it's the fastest growing sport, male and female, in high school. I mean, by large numbers. So I mean, that just use your head. I mean, that means more and more people are interested. They're gonna, each generation that keeps going. I do think that having female wrestling is just wonderful as far as all of this, because now all of a sudden, not only do you have the women wrestling, but you have their parents, aunts, and uncles and cousins that are watching them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's great. We have to always support that as well.
Kennedy Blades. I love Kennedy Blades being in it. My only concern is there's only one person I want to see wrestling Kennedy Blades.
Yeah.
We all know who that is, right? Amity Lore, where you at? I mean, that I would tune in to be watching that, dude. Come on. Yeah. But outside of that, I'm pretty sure she's going to be throwing everyone else around. It's not going to be close, but be fun to watch. She is fun. She is fun to watch, though. But
I enjoy watching her throw people around.
Oh yeah, dude. She does it like you've never seen a woman wrestler do it before, man.
Season at all?
What's that?
Did you follow her college season at all this year? Or?
Yeah, she won. She won it all. Went undefeated.
Dominated.
I haven't. Yes. I didn't see a single match from that season, but I could imagine it's not even close.
I think did she win the U.S. Open? Here's an interesting stat. I'm pretty sure she won the U.S. Open, all tech falls, and I don't think she had a single leg lace point. It was all just takedowns and throws to backs.
Wow.
And there were some big throws too. Yeah, so can't go wrong with Kennedy Blades. Ben Askren, 40-year-old though. Wow, I'll be interested. I want to see who he's wrestling. I mean, hey, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for both leagues, dude. I don't see why both of them can't work, folks. We need to all be embracing, and just like Christian said, just promoting and getting these on the surface and giving them their chance, letting the eyeballs see them, and letting the people, judge for themselves. But
yeah, if you're a wrestling fan, just think about this before you go down the negative train. Just think about this helping if it goes well, and that's what we all want. So it's easy to jump on the.
can't hurt. We're
What's
at the bottom.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well,
The fact volleyball more viewers than us every year in NCAA is just that. Come on, guys.
hey, listen, not for long, Chris. I'm telling you right now, everything's changing, man. Everything's happening with Trump going to the championships. The way Wyatt won that, all the stars are aligning in wrestling, folks. It's growing bigger and more than ever before. Like, it's inevitable. A professional league will work. Is this the one? I don't know. Comment in the comments, folks. But we're at the 30-minute mark, and I got some responsibilities here, so we do have to move on. Christian, I got to let you go, and Kevin, I'll let you move on to some other topics here. But, Christian, call in next time, man. We always appreciate you, dude. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, brother.
Yeah, have a good one. Peace.
See ya.
You too, man.
All right, Kevin. What else you got here?
What do you want? You want to just throw up the?
I got national duels. Let's go up national duels. Let's look at that. I have your projected
seeds. We got all our
seeds.
teams. We got all our teams. Now these are based. Now they're not going to seed the tournament based on the way they selected the teams. Okay.
Okay.
So they're not going to be seeded off of last year's tournament placing. They're going to be seeded off of this year's lineups. I went through all the lineups, and this was what I came up with as far as if I were to seed these teams based on their lineup going into next season, this is how I would seed them. Obviously, Wyoming, not a very strong team. And Little Rock, their two best guys are gone. Their three best guys are gone, actually. One graduated, two transferred. Arizona State, they got a couple good young guys, but that's it. Illinois lost, a decent amount. But on the other side, Nebraska's got just about everybody back. They only lost Lovett. Oklahoma State, very young, but top-notch recruits. And Lehigh, I'll tell you what, when you look at Lehigh's lineup for next year, we'll do a show sometime on their lineup. I did a preview. It's stacked, man. It is stacked, and a lot of guys that people haven't heard of that they're going to hear of. And so as you go down, these are kind of like what I was looking at for the lineup. So I just, for the heck of it, I seeded it how I would seed it.
I'll go down the list here, Kevin, just for the Spotify listeners, folks. If you can find us on Spotify.
So we got.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead. Okay. So we got Iowa 1, Nebraska 2, Oklahoma State 3, Lehigh 4, Ohio State 5, Minnesota 6, NC State 7th, Cornell 8th, Virginia Tech 9, Missouri 10. On 11th, we got Northern Iowa. 12th, we got Michigan. 13th, Illinois. 14th, Arizona State. 15th, Little Rock. And 16th, Wyoming.
Okay. Now, that would say, how would that fit into a bracket, Kevin? So now I'm going to put up your bracket, your projections.
Boom.
Bang. Talk us through this.
So this I just did by chalk. So, if you got 1 versus 4, you pick the 1. I just did that by chalk so people get an idea of matchups. But I'll tell you what, man. I'm hoping the second year of this, they're going to go by a different formula to select the teams because we all know that, Wyoming is not a top 16 team. We would love to see Iowa State in there instead. I'd love to see Stanford in there instead of, Arizona
Purdue?
State. Purdue. Yep. There's a lot of good teams that, where a lot of these teams, like even Northern Iowa is nothing like they were last year. Nothing. So yeah, it's not perfect, but it's pretty damn good. I would say that 12 of these 16 teams are really top 16 teams. So the three quarters of them, that's not bad. So, but when you're looking at this first round, Minnesota, Northern Iowa, Oklahoma State, Arizona State, Illinois versus Lehigh, Ohio State versus Michigan. That's a huge rival. Cornell and Virginia Tech has always been a great duel. They didn't have it this last year, but they've had it every year in the past. Those are all first round matches, and they're excellent.
Little
and
Rock,
then you move
Nebraska.
on. You got Iowa, Cornell, who we never see. Rob Cole used to say that he was trying to get Iowa to wrestle on their schedule every year, and they refused to wrestle them. I have no idea why, but we've never seen an Iowa Cornell for as long as I can remember. So that would be awesome to see.
Wow.
Ohio State, Lehigh, same thing, right? When do we see Ohio State and Lehigh?
Yeah.
And then, NC State, Nebraska, Oklahoma State, Minnesota. Then you got to realize you got all the backside too, right, Zach? You got all the consolation matches too.
That's true.
And I know,
boy, this is going to be, oh my goodness, this is going to be an intense weekend of wrestling.
Yeah. I know your dad is convinced that these guys are going to come out of here like missing a leg and stuff.
I know.
But the most matches they're going to get is 5. That's the most. That's if you were to
That's just like
lose
a tournament,
first round and go all the way back for third. But likely they're going to get 3 or 4 matches. And it's kind of interesting, Zach. It goes by conference as far as how many guys you can bring. They have conference rules. So Iowa might be able to bring 20 guys, while Cornell might only be able to bring 12 guys. I'm not sure how they're going to implement that here, but that is a big thing to do with it, because like you got Iowa, Wyoming, you can literally if you can bring 20 guys, you can have like your backups in that first round and still beat Wyoming, and so I'm curious to see what that is as far as that rule. But,
there's some strategy involved here. It'll be interesting to see. I'm sure they'll tweak it.
So I think this is great. The only thing I would change is I would have it where they don't go by a tournament placing for a dual championship. It doesn't really make that much sense to me. There's always going to be someone that feels like they're left out, but you just gotta. I would.
It's just like the basketball tournament. Someone always feels left out.
Yeah. I just know, we got to start using common sense in some stuff. Like I can tell you right now, if you take Wyoming out and Little Rock out, and you put Iowa State and Stanford in, this tournament just got that much better. I'm thankful Lehigh got in with the lotto, because that would have sucked, because Lehigh, I'm truly convinced they're going to finish top 5 at NCAA's next year. But besides that, I can't complain much. I think this tournament's awesome, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, that potential Ohio State Lehigh second round match. I mean, how about just overall in wrestling, man? We just touched on it. We got Hulk Hogan dipping into the waters now. I mean, Paycom and Richardson with this national duels tournament just happened. Now we got like Left Lane Capital coming in. Claw. I mean, dude, this is the most exciting time in the history of American wrestling. That's
absolutely.
Is that fair to say?
And he could have put all the money just towards his own team, but he decided to do it for a tournament, And listen, like I said before, Penn State fans, we know you're the best. Nobody here is questioning whether or not you are the best dual meet tournament. Nobody here in the right mind is saying, we all know that if you were in this, you would win it, but you're not in it. And let's just focus on the teams that are. It's not the dual championship; it's the national invitational duels. It's a national tournament. It's duels, and it's an invitational. Hopefully, Penn State will decide to go in it at some point. Not now, and I still think it's like there's 2 halves here. You got the Penn State crew that wants to kind of crap on this tournament, and then you got the other people that want to crap on Penn State. And it's like the people that are going. You don't have to convince the Penn State fans that this is a good tournament. And Penn State fans, you certainly don't have to convince everyone else that this is a bad tournament just because you're not going. It's still a good tournament without you. CKLV is great, and it doesn't have Penn State, But come on, we all know you're the best. We understand.
It goes back to my earlier point. I don't see why both this league and Claw can't both work, man, outside of too many A's, alphas in the same room, Yeah. And that's just typical for wrestling. I know that's tough, but, maybe for the betterment of the sport, can people, collaborate, work together a little bit? Yeah. But, hey, I'm positive, baby. I think this is the most exciting time ever. But, hey, that including these national duels. But, Kevin, you want to touch on another interesting point here that you brought up about some two-time.
There's a lot of questions. I get random questions from people on Messenger, which I appreciate, and like trivia kind of things, right? And a lot of questions I've been getting are in regards to how Wyatt Hendrickson and Dean Hamidi both had to beat 2 NCAA champs this year, current NCAA champs, to win their titles. So we're not talking about, say, David Carr 2 years ago, right? David Carr would not count as this because Mitchell Messenbrink was not yet an NCAA champion, okay? Mm-hmm. So we're talking about guys that beat guys that were already an NCAA champion. To my surprise, only could find 6 total, and 3 of them, half of them, have been in this past 2 seasons. We had Carter, take out Shane Griffith and Makai Lewis. And then this year, we obviously had the 2 Oklahoma State boys, Dean Hamidi taking out Haynes and O'Toole, and Hendrickson taking out Kirkfleet and Gable. And the only other 3 examples I could find were Troy Nickerson back in 2009, and he took out Angel Esposito of Indiana, who was a 2008 champion, and Paul Donahue of Edinburgh, who once was at Nebraska, was a 2007 champion. And then Daryl Weber of Iowa in 1996. This guy's story was kind of crazy, Zach. So he was wrestling 157, right, his freshman year, and he went all the way down to 141 or 142 it was, because TJ Williams, he lost a wrestle off to TJ Williams at 157, and then Lincoln McElravy was 150. He wanted to make the starting lineup. He went all the way down to 142, which is crazy.
I mean, what percentage of your body weight is that? That is a lot.
Just brutal, man. Brutal cut. He's like, I wanted to start. Like, the year that he won it at 167 when he did this. He beat Marcus Malacca of Arizona State, and he also beat Mark Branch of Oklahoma State, who was a stud. Mark Branch went 1-2-1-2 at NCAAs. And then you have to go all the way back to 1959 for the final time. This was Ed Hammer, who beat Dwayne Murdy of Oklahoma State and Tom Alberts of Pitt. So this is not a common thing. And again, people, I know, because a lot of people comment in the section, well, what about this guy? We're talking about guys that they had to have already won an NCAA title, okay? Not win it coming up. Like, you beat an NCAA champ at the time.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty impressive to do that. What's that?
I said it's a short list.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a stat guy like me, wrestling's never been better in the past few years, because there's all sorts of anomalies that you're seeing out there that are just crazy. So, yeah, I thought this was pretty interesting. So if anybody comes across anyone else, feel free to send me a message if you think that there is another person.
Keep that in mind. Trivia coming back Sunday, folks. Brain Duels trivia coming back. So that's a great little trivia question.
That's what I was going to ask next.
More people have been to space than are on that list, including apparently Katy Perry. Katy Perry went to space.
Oh my God!
There's a lot of people saying she didn't actually go to. There's a fake out. You see that? You think she went to space,
Kevin? I think that they went like right where below where the atmosphere is or something.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think they went into space?
And Bezos' wife? I don't know. I mean, that's pretty ballsy of Bezos to send his wife up there, isn't it? For real?
Maybe he wanted her to take a one-way ticket there.
I know. Like, were they fighting the day before, dude? Because, I mean, I don't know, man.
We're sending you to space. You're not coming back.
I'm really, really hoping that spaceship works, dude. I don't know, but Kevin, we got to wrap this up, man. I got stuff, but hey, there was another rules thing you want to touch on, man. I want to give you a chance to talk about it. It's pretty relevant. Or what was it? Was there anything else you had, or am I missing something here?
I think we're gonna just stick Lehigh. We'll go Lehigh preview next time, and then then there's just a couple. We can go over to the guys that we think are going to challenge the guys at Final X. We can go over that next time too.
That's good. Yeah. And hey, listen, folks, I was pretty sure Hulk Hogan was calling in. I guess he didn't. He must have ran late on his meeting or something. Izzy Martinez, we're going to try to get him on here. We're going to try to get him on. We're going to try to talk about it. And if we can, we'll be back sooner rather than later. But
if anybody can do it, it's this guy, Zach. And Zach will get a hold of Hulk Hogan.
We're going to get a hold of him. I still got to message Sean McDermott back. Daggone it, I forgot to do that.
I would love to be in on that, man. I'd love to be in on that.
Yeah. Hey.
You've got a pretty good wrestling history, man.
They got us interested, folks. And wrestling is growing, whether you like it or not, okay? So.
Be positive.
Kevin, what are you doing this weekend, man?
Just hanging out with my boy.
It's summer out. I'm sweating, dude. It's the first time I'm sweating.
Finally summer out. We're fine. We've been kicking us. He likes soccer. He's just turned 3, and we've been doing laps around the house, driving my wife nuts, knocking things over. So now we can finally go outside and kick the ball. So it's a whole new,
Nice.
Up in Rochester, hibernated for 6 months. Finally get outside.
Yeah, you're way up north. You're like across the river from Canada or something, right?
Yep. Yeah, Canada's only an hour away. Hey.
I know. That's why you got that accent.
18, we used to go up there. We were 19. We used to go up there to drink beers because their legal age was 19. So we used to drive an hour.
Wow.
And we thought we were pretty bad.
Speaking of accents, I'm from South Central Pennsylvania. Danny Pacino was making fun of his coach for having a South Central PA accent. Sweet.
I saw that. You were like, I know all about that.
I know. Which, by the way, go check out the newest Wrestling File story, Lost in Russia with Cannon Webster. That's a fascinating story. But
that's a good one. Hey, do you think he's going to move up to 157?
He's moving up something. At least 157. At least 157. Yeah. I don't think he knows yet. He doesn't know yet, but he's going to be a threat, folks.
I was looking at him. I was looking at lineups for next year, in Illinois, and I'm like, man, there's no way he's going to be 149 next year. He just looked huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think he knows, but yeah, check that out. And I don't know, folks, if we can get someone on Izzy Martinez or Hulk Hogan or I don't know. We'll be back. Maybe even tomorrow, but I'm moving. I'm moving this weekend. Might be one of the last times I'm in this studio, which is a good thing because I already moved the air conditioner out. Move that out to her.
You moving closer to me?
Technically, yeah. Technically.
Awesome.
Gettysburg, PA. So, yeah. Right beside my dad. So we might just start including all the back scene fights that we have. That we normally don't include in the episodes, but all right, I gotta get these kids outside and play. So, Kevin, thanks for hopping on, folks. Thanks for watching.
Appreciate it. Next
like
week,
and subscribe.
We'll hit up for all you Lehigh fans. Check out the episode next week.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Breaking down Lehigh and more. So, all right, thanks for watching, folks. We'll be back. See ya.